there is no shortage of experts on the subject of marriage breakdown. I'm sure that they all have at their fingertips the statistics which prove the damage of divorce. Marriage offers stability. Sadly, for many of these marriages, reality fails to live up to expectations. When that happens, most couples discover and draw on new reserves of love and strength. But for many, their own resources are just not enough. I offer my congratulations to all families who remain cheerful, positive, and loving in adversity. And I also offer my support to everyone who helps them in this task.
You, ma'am, have seen much of our work in the last 2 years, and we were very deeply honored when you became our patron last April. In that time, if I may say so, you have shared our fortunes and our sorrows, and of course we are delighted that you're here with us today to present the first Relate Family of the Year Award. Your Highness.
Ladies and gentlemen, I must admit to having been rather puzzled when I heard of the Family of the Year award. I hadn't realised that family life was a competition, let alone one which we got prizes for. However, I quickly discovered that far from singling out one perfect example of family life, the award is really intended as a tribute to the thousands of families whose daily lives are constructive, loving, and unselfish. These are the families who give of their best to each other and to society, while quietly coping with a daunting array of pressures. In this room, there is no shortage of experts on the subject of marriage breakdown. I'm sure that they all have at their fingertips the statistics which prove the damage of divorce, felt in education, employment, crime, even in the national economy. I know also, from my own visits to their offices around the country, that the experts of Relate have daily contact with the distress which underlies these statistics. Marriage offers stability, and maybe that is why nearly 7,000 couples a week begin new family lives of their own. Sadly, for many of these marriages, reality fails to live up to expectations. When that happens, most couples discover and draw on new reserves of love and strength. But for many, their own resources are just not enough. More than mere guidance, Relate offers some marriages the support which will strengthen them to overcome a crisis. To others, it offers hope through and after divorce. In short, Relate helps people keep going. In ways too often unnoticed, its work enriches and supports the fabric of society. This may all seem a far cry from the Family of the Year, but we should remember that the award celebrates the victory of very simple values over the very complex difficulties confronted by so many modern marriages. I offer my congratulations to all families who remain cheerful, positive, and loving in adversity. And I also offer my support to everyone who helps them in this task.
May I now invite Sue Cook, presenter of Daytime Live, to announce the selection panel's decision and to call up the families to receive their awards.
Thank you very much, Your Royal Highness, my lords, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to be here today to play a very small part in these very important proceedings. And I'd also like to add how much our camera crews enjoyed visiting the three families to make the films that you saw earlier. But let's now put an end to all the suspense. I have the selector's decision here, and before I announce the Family of the Year, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite representatives of the other two families, the Beestons from Redcar and the Loughlins from Gallicare, to come up and collect their awards. And of course that means that Relate's Family of the Year is the Gopal family from Colchester in Essex. So would Heather, Rico Jr., Ryan, Ricky and Rosita please come forward to receive Family of the Year award.
Here we are. It remains now... It remains now only for me to thank those who have made this event and the award possible. First of all, of course, our partners at Woman's Own, and in particular, Keith McNeil and Angela Willans. Our principal sponsors, Raphael Ginogli, Michael Ashcroft of ADT, and Denise Bell-King of Belle Epoque. Sue Cook, Simon Shaw, and the team of Daytime Live at BBC Pebble Mill. The Family of the Year team, led by Relate's Vice Chairman Anne Leck. The finalist families, the Beestons, the Gopals, and the Laughlins. My colleague Peter McCabe and his team, who have worked night and day to make this event a success. And most especially, ma'am, may I thank you for the honor of your presence today and for so graciously presenting the award for us. And very finally, may I thank you all for coming, for making the event such a success, and for your support of Relate. Thank you very much indeed.
The quest for perfection our society demands can leave the individual gasping for breath at every turn. Eating disorders, whether it be anorexia or bulimia, show how an individual can turn the nourishment of the body into a painful attack on themselves. Yes, people are dying from eating disorders, but with help and patient nurturing, people suffering from eating disorders can find a better way of coping with their lives. Ladies and gentlemen, I have it on very good authority that the quest for perfection our society demands can leave the individual gasping for breath at every turn. This pressure inevitably extends into the way we look. And of course, many would like to believe that eating disorders are merely an expression of female vanity, not being able to get into a size 10 dress and the consequent frustrations. From the beginning of time, the human race has had a deep and powerful relationship with food. If you eat, you live. If you don't, you die. Eating food has always been about survival, but also about caring for and nurturing the ones we love. However, with the added stresses of modern life, it has now become an expression of how we feel about ourselves and how we want others to feel about us. Eating disorders, whether it be anorexia or bulimia, show how an individual can turn the nourishment of the body into a painful attack on themselves. And they have, at their core, a far deeper problem than mere vanity. And sadly, eating disorders are on the increase at a disturbing rate, affecting a growing number of men and women, and a growing number of children too. Our knowledge of eating disorders is still in its infancy, but it seems from those I have spoken to that the seeds of this dis-ease may lie in childhood and the self-doubts and uncertainties that accompany adolescence. From early childhood, many had felt they were expected to be perfect, but didn't feel they had the right to express their true feelings to those around them. Feelings of guilt, of self-revulsion, and low personal esteem, creating in them a compulsion to dissolve like a disprin and disappear. The illness they developed became their shameful friend by focusing their energies on controlling their bodies. They had found a refuge from having to face the more painful issues at the center of their lives. A way of coping, albeit destructively and pointlessly, but a way of coping with a situation they were finding unbearable. An expression of how they felt about themselves and the life they were living. On a recent visit to the Great Ormond Street Hospital for Sick Children, I met some young people who were suffering from eating disorders. With the help of some very dedicated staff, they and their parents were bravely learning to face together the deeper problems which had been expressed through their dis-ease. With time and patience and a considerable amount of specialist support, many of these young people will get well. They and their families will learn to become whole again. Sadly, for others, it will all be too late. Yes, people are dying from eating disorders. Yet all of us can help prevent the seeds of this disease developing. As parents, teachers, family, and friends, we have an obligation to care for our children, to encourage and guide, to nourish and nurture, and to listen with love to their needs in ways which clearly show our children that we value them. They, in their turn, will then learn how to value themselves. From those already suffering from eating disorders, how can we reach them earlier, before it's too late? Here in Britain, organisations such as the Eating Disorders Association are currently being swamped with inquiries and requests for support and advice. So overwhelming is the need for help. Yet, with greater awareness and more information, these people who are locked into a spiral of secret despair can be reached before the disease takes over their lives. The longer it is before help reaches them, the greater the demand on limited resources, and the less likely it is they will fully recover. I am certain the ultimate solution lies within the individual, but with the help and patient nurturing given by you, the professionals, family and friends, people suffering from eating disorders can find a better way of coping with their lives. By learning to deal with their problems directly in a safe and supportive environment. Over the next 3 days, this international conference has the opportunity to explore further the causes of eating disorder and to find new avenues of help for those suffering from this incapacitating disease. I look forward to hearing about your progress and hope you are able to find the most beneficial way of giving back to these people their self-esteem, to show them how to overcome their difficulties and redirect their energies towards a healthier and happier life.
Wasn't reality. During this time, I read as much as I could about head injury and talked to people in Headway who'd been through it. It devastates families. The physical problems are easy to deal with, but it is the psychological problems that are hardest. He was a vibrant, energetic, physical man. Now he's just a shell of his former self.
Ladies and gentlemen, Her Royal Highness, the Princess of Wales, would like to make a short statement. Your Royal Highness.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure to be here with you, sharing in your successes of the past year. Headway has grown into an organisation which is improving the quality of so many lives. I'm so proud of the work you've achieved. In the past 12 years, I can honestly say that one of my greatest pleasures has been my association with people like yourself. During those years, I've met many thousands of wonderful and extraordinary people, both here and around the world. The cared for and the carers. To the wider public, may I say that I've made many special friends. I've been allowed to share your thoughts and dreams, your disappointments and your happiness. You have also given me an education by teaching me more about life and living, than any books or teachers could have done. My debt of gratitude to you all is immense. I hope in some small way I have been of service in return. A year ago, I spoke of my desire to continue with my work unchanged. For the past year, I have continued as before. However, life and circumstances alter, and I hope you will forgive me if I use this opportunity to share with you my plans for the future, which now indeed have changed. When I started my public life 12 years ago, I understood the media might be interested in what I did. I realized then their attention would inevitably focus on both our private and public lives. But I was not aware of how overwhelming that attention would become, nor the extent to which it would affect both my public duties and my personal life in a manner that's been hard to bear. At the end of this year, when I've completed my diary of official engagements, I will be reducing the extent of the public life I've led so far. Obviously, I attach great importance to my charity work, and I intend to focus on a smaller range of areas in the future. Over the next few months, I will be seeking a more suitable way of combining a meaningful public role with hopefully a more private life. My first priority will continue to be our children, William and Harry, who deserve as much love and care and attention as I am able to give, as well as an appreciation of the tradition into which they were born. I would like to add that this decision has been reached with a full understanding of the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh, who have always shown me kindness and support. I hope you can find it in your hearts to understand and to give me the time and space that has been lacking in recent years. I couldn't stand here today and make this sort of statement without acknowledging the heartfelt support I've been given by the public in general. Your kindness and affection has carried me through some of the most difficult periods, and always your love and care has eased that journey. And for that, I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Your Royal Highness, I know I speak for all of us when I say we sympathise with the decision you have taken. Whatever course your life now takes, be assured there are many charities and individuals all over the world who will remain grateful for the dedicated service and care you have brought to everything you do. On behalf of those people who cannot be with us today, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Her Royal Highness, the Princess of Wales.
Princess.
Ladies and gentlemen, everyone needs to be valued. Everyone has the potential to give something back if only they had the chance. We, as part of society, must ensure that young people who are our future are given the chance they deserve.
Very close.
As you can see, this year's meeting is being held in more theatrical surroundings than usual. We owe the use of this venue to the generosity of the Savoy Theatre and the Strand Traders Association. Without poignancy that our meeting is being held in the Strand, because it's in the Strand, almost on our doorstep, that many of the young people who come into Centre Point projects have slept rough, often in conditions and temperatures such as those. Secondly, we're doing that on a separate occasion and getting straight down to the substance of our own meeting. And I have the greatest pleasure now in introducing Her Royal Highness the Princess of Wales. She has been Centre Point's patron since 1991 and has been an enormous support to us, and not only on public occasions such as this. It probably isn't widely known outside Centre Point that Her Royal Highness also stays close to the grassroots of our projects, working with our young people, visiting them regularly, privately, quietly, and very effectively. I have the greatest pleasure in inviting her to address our meeting.
start, ladies and gentlemen, by making a plea on behalf of vulnerable young people in this country. Every young person deserves a proper start in life, and those who have no family to turn to need to be able to rely on us as a society for the help and encouragement they need. I have visited Centrepoint and other charities working at the sharp end of youth homelessness many times now, most recently to the streets of King's Cross in October. I have listened to many young people whose lives have been blighted by their experiences. Each time I visit, I am sad to hear of the abuse and rejection that young people have suffered. Young people who have lived in children's homes for most of their lives and who have found it impossible to cope on their own. Young people who have suffered abuse and have run away from home. Young people whose families neither know nor care where they are. Young people who have taken far too much upon their shoulders for far too long. Young people forced to leave home because of family poverty and overcrowding. Each time I visit, I'm appalled at the dangers young people face on the streets and how vulnerable they are to exploitation. 16 and 17-year-olds who resort to begging, or worse, prostitution, to get money in order to eat. Young people whose physical and mental health has been severely damaged by life on the streets. Young people who take drugs to provide some escape from the hardship they face. Young people who have been attacked and abused on the streets and face the indifferent stares of passers-by who have no idea how brave they are or how much they have suffered. It's truly tragic to see the total waste of so many young lives, of so much potential. I'm full of admiration for the work of the staff and volunteers at Centrepoint. They do not give up on young people. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, Centrepoint is there to provide the basics for survival. A warm, safe environment with friendship, trust, and support. In the long term, Centrepoint works with young people for however long it takes until they are ready to lead independent lives, with a more permanent home, employment, or training, so that they are able to stand on their own 2 feet. Projects like Box Hill Hostel, which I opened in 1991, have set hundreds of young people up for a future. Most importantly of all, Centrepoint works to prevent young people from ever having to suffer the dangers of sleeping on the streets. It's wonderful to see young people thrive, to see their confidence restored. I love hearing of their plans for the future and their never-ending optimism. Young people who are keen to have a job and be able to support themselves. Thanks to many supporters here today, Centrepoint is able to carry on its vital work. Yet, each year is a struggle to make ends meet. At a time when resources everywhere are stretched as never before, those needing help are becoming younger and more vulnerable. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone needs to be valued. Everyone has the potential to give something back if only they had the chance. Centrepoint values each and every young person that turns to it for help and gives that chance. That is why I wanted to share this message with you this morning, and that is why we must continue our support. We, as part of society, must ensure that young people who are our future are given the chance they deserve.
Continuing support. I know that some of the young people in our projects have something they would like to do.
Thank you very much for supporting us.
It's very difficult sitting in